Welcome back. You are watching or listening to Benisas Cafe podcast. And my guest today is Marlene. Welcome, Marlene.
Welcome. Thanks for having me this evening.
Absolutely. I am so excited to share Marlene's story. Well, for her to share her story. So we're going to get right into it. Today's drink of choice is cappuccino. Did you know that the actual cappuccino was invented in Italy, but the phrase cappuccina was used in Vienna? Did you know that?
No, I did not. See, I learned something every day.
Yeah. So cappuccino was invented in Italy and the name was adapted to become cappuccino.
Oh.
So it changed from cappuccina to cappuccino. It was first made in the early 1900s, shortly after the popularization of the espresso machine in 1901. The first record of the cappuccino we have found was in the 1930s. So actually, it's been around much longer than I thought.
Wow.
What flavor are we drinking today?
Vanilla.
Yeah. I mean, there's like millions of different kinds of cappuccino. I think my favorite one is really when you make it with the espresso machine and you foam the milk and everything. We're using instant for today's show.
Don't tell nobody.
Maybe one day we'll get a sponsor that will gift us a
make it fresh
espresso machine. Yes, that would be so awesome, right?
And while we do it, like right there to like
and we can show people how to make it. I have like a special spot over here for it.
See, there we go.
I also want to give a shout out to Audrey and Louise Coe. They actually sponsored and made this beautiful Benisas Cafe sign for me. Beautiful. Make sure to find them and follow them and actually reach out to them and use them. They have a Facebook page as well as Instagram, and I will post their link below at some point in the video so you can contact them directly and get a special made sign for your home or your business as well. Okay, so let's start off. Marlene, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
All right. Like she said, my name is Marlene Lurline. Been here in Atlanta 28 years. Came to Atlanta from Germany. Mm-hmm. So you're another fellow German.
Yes.
Came here actually when I was married to a soldier, by marriage again. As a lot of us have a story behind why we're here in America. Mm-hmm. Mine is similar to a lot of, the females that end up here in America. I got married very young. Mm-hmm. I was 17, actually, when I got married.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. My mom actually had to sign for me to get married. Wow. But, I have a little backstory, but, that we'll probably get to it. But got to the States when I was about 21, 22. Was not married long. Got divorced in 93. No, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah. Was it 93? I think, no, I came in 93. Sorry. Came in 93, got divorced in 96.
Gotcha.
Was married for 5 years. Couldn't find my way back. Didn't have the money. So I, worked my way up here in the States. Ended up being homeless in 96. Didn't have a penny to my name. Built my life with, working hard and, keep my head up and worked, built an empire at one point. Lost everything, started over, lost everything, started over. I think a lot of stories that we have here, just persistency and, just keep going.
And not giving up.
Yeah, not giving up.
Yeah.
So this makes this year, I think, 28 years. I just believe that, we all have a purpose, here on this earth. I haven't quite figured out yet what sometimes. But, I think my purpose is my daughter.
Yeah.
Why I'm here and what I'm doing, for the past 10 years. My life has a lot of changes.
Yeah.
But, so I'm just, moving and shaking and, just...
Well, you made a lot of progress, in that. And, I have to say that everybody that I know that came here from overseas has so much ambition and dedication and is like a fighter.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for myself, it's a little bit of everything. It's like, I cannot give up. I want to make my mom proud, so to speak.
Yeah.
You got a combination of things. First, you're in a foreign country, so you have no other choice but to succeed. Yeah. You have nobody to fall back on.
Yeah.
And then you kind of want to prove to your family back home that you made the right decision. Right? And so giving up is not an option, right?
Correct.
So, I'm sure it was really tough for you.
There were times that, even when I was married, when I came to this country, I remember when we first got here, first of all, I gave up everything that I had over there.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have a lot, right? I was young, right? I think I left when I was, like I said, I think I was 21. I just finished up schooling over there. My background is restaurant management. I just graduated in my degree and, I sold everything I had. I had literally $4,000. To my name and 2 suitcases. I put my trust and life in this young man that I married who was 10 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
Not younger, older than me. He was ex-military. He didn't have nothing either.
Yeah.
But he promised me the world and I was naive enough to believe. So we came here and he basically promised me the world. And the next thing I know is we landed here and he was like, yeah, my brother has this limousine and we bind the limousine. We open up the limousine company and we're going to make money. And I remember the name was Venus Shuttle Service. We take you there. He took the $4,000 we had, gave it to his brother. Guess what the brother took? Took the money and kept the car. So now we had nothing. I remember the second night we were here, no food. So I remember, the little chips dip that you use. That was my food with a piece of bread. We had no money. So what did we do? I had a degree. I hardly spoke any English. I'm looking for jobs. So I started at Marriott. I had a degree, but I didn't speak any English. I spoke, decent English. Enough. I started out as a hostess, making $5.40 an hour. I can show you how to get to a table, So in those years, I worked my way. And then he worked as a valet. He didn't have a degree. He was ex-military, no degree, had a short temper, and couldn't keep a job. So I was enough where I could progress. I worked my way up from hostess to supervisor to manager to director, but he couldn't keep a job, And then he became an alcoholic and abusive and things like that. And then, one thing led to the next, he kicked me out of the house and I was on the street, and at that time I was a supervisor. I made $8.50. Woohoo! I remember I had $180 in my pocket. I remember calling my general manager, who was a female, and I told her I had no place to stay. She said, I can give you a hotel for 3 days. So I went to a residence inn for 3 days, stayed there, and when my 3 days were over, I didn't know where to go. So I went to one of those roach motels weekly, paid $120 a week. That's how much I made at Marriott. After taxes, I think $125. I mean, I was my pride. I had no money, couldn't go home. My family didn't have money. They couldn't help me. They were looking for me to help them.
Yeah.
You know how it is. I mean, they think America, right? I mean,
right.
You can help them, right? I'm like, what do you mean? I struggle myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to figure out a way, right? For 6 months, I literally slept between cars and roach motels, and until I was like, okay, it's got to find a different way. I mean, I worked 3 shifts. One thing that I'm not afraid of is working hard. I worked 3 jobs. I picked up shifts. I worked as a banquet server, as a server, making tips, making this. I worked 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I mean, I worked odd jobs. I mean, all in the hotel industry.
Yeah.
Just making money. And, eventually I remember I went to Jimmy Carter Boulevard. That's kind of like the area that I try to figure out. I finally found me an apartment, I think like $500 a month. No furniture, I'm like, I don't care, air mattress, right? I mean, it was mine, right? I didn't care. So, but then I remember, rooms to go back then. I was like, I opened up a credit card and woohoo, I felt like I was rich, right? I swiped the card and got like, furniture. But at that time, he literally charged all my credit cards up. Wow. I mean, I couldn't get a slice of bread on credit. Everything was in my name. It's like our name. So he literally
maxed
everything out. So I had to figure out how to pay off all the debt. So I had to start over.
Yeah.
So what do, right? You're a foreigner, you have no idea, didn't understand credit, So it took a long way, But I tell you, persistency, praying. I tell you, got to talk to God. I mean, I became more and more religious. I'm not a religious, right? I mean, I'm not a fanatic, but I believe there's a higher power, right?
Yeah.
And that helped me, of course. And just believing that, certain things will get you through life. And I think that's really what's helping me. And looking back, she had to be there for me. Because I don't know how else I could have survived. Yeah, of course, my persistency. And there was no other way. I mean, I made a lot of friends, but, there were men that want to offer me certain things. I mean, I'm not a bad looking girl back then, I mean, but
even today, look at you.
Well, I'm pushing 50, okay, almost. But, but my pride never want to, I remember guys were offering me, hey, I pay your mortgage, your rent, but I want a key. I never, ever, ever took a penny. That's not me. I'm like, let me get another shift.
Yeah.
I remember even when I was going up, like, I worked my way up all the way to general manager in the hotel industry. And, I was in my 20s, and how hard that is, being a general manager in that industry. I still was working on the side as a, waitress. Because, I mean, it's not, we talking about this was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Not making a lot of money.
Right.
But, I still was trying to figure out, okay, how can I do this? Until I figured out how I made my first 6 figures. And that's where going into sales and in real estate. That's where my turning point back in 2000, 2001. And I never looked back since. I had to find my niche.
Yeah.
My niche, what is it that for me to get out of this hole? And that's kind of like where I found my calling per se, the gift of gap.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem talking.
Right.
And that's where I figured out, okay, that's where, where I go. I wrote a book about this years ago, from homeless to rich. Still have not published it. Eventually, one day, there's a lot of stuff in there that I can't do this, publish it until eventually when I'm out of corporate America. But, it's some of the things, you can't really talk about it, speak about it when you work for somebody. There's a lot of stuff, eventually when I'm 100% entrepreneur, I can talk about it. I can publish it. I can talk about a lot of more stuff, because eventually I want to put my name on it. I don't want to have a ghostwriter talking about it. I want to have my name on it and talk about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I completely understand where you come from in regards to kind of not being able to say what you want. For many years since I've moved to the United States, I've been here for 18 years now, but I've worked for a corporation for, a total of 17 years. And this is the first time in my life that I actually, or since I've moved, or maybe in my life, that I feel free, that I, even though my situation has changed, it's like a relief to know that I'm responsible only for myself at this moment, and that I don't have to be politically correct. And I'm kind of still learning that through the podcast right now, because I'm still like, okay, don't mention any company names, like I'm training I'm still trying to train myself to basically say what people want me to say or want to hear and not speak from the heart.
But I have to interject that. And also, I'm going to tell you, I work in corporate America still, but I don't let them suppress me. That's one thing. And everybody at work will tell you, oh my God, Marlene, you say like it is. As I am, because I know my value. When you know your value, it is up to them. You want to keep me or not?
Yeah.
I know what I'm worth. And that's one thing I have ever, talking about political correct. I don't kiss ass. And that's just how it is. And I just always say, listen, political, I am very political, because you got to watch what you say with your words sometimes, how you say it. Okay. But I don't, kiss butt. I just don't. Because I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. And I think that what makes a difference. It's a difference if you're rude, disrespectful in a way. But I think if you know your worth, I think you can express how you feel. And I do that every day. I tell them how I feel, and I tell them what I don't think it's right or wrong. You take it like it is. And I think a lot of people here in America are very tight, very close-lipped in a lot of things, because they're worried about their jobs. They're worried about saying the wrong things. We see what happens right now in this world. Everybody's scared about a lot of things. And, we've seen, I don't want to talk political here, but it's a lot of stuff going on. That I think over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of switches, a lot of turns. But I just say, know your worth, because we all worth something. You just have to figure out, what do you want to be worth? And that's one thing that I install in my daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I teach her to be worth everything that I instilled in her, the way I raised myself. I've been in my own since I was 9 years old. I've been in my own since I was 12. I have never lived with a parent since I was 12.
Oh, wow.
I've been on my own since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So I left my grandma's house when I was 12 years old. So I had to be grown up really fast.
Yeah.
Can I see that my daughter in 2 years leave my house? No. But I know what I want her to be. I know your daughters are very independent. And I always, talk about your daughters when I talk to my daughter. And I'm like, you see them girls, they are always be independent. They're like grown women. I mean, to me, you raise them the same way. But I don't know if that's the mentality how we are in Europe, because when you look at, my daughter who's 10, and then I look at 10-year-old daughter, her friends, they're like, very younger acting. And I'm like, wow. I mean, you see like, she's, like 13, 14.
I think it's the mentality.
Right. And I think how we were raised.
Yeah, how we were raised.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on my own since 12. Not that I want to raise her like she needs to be on her own in the next 2 years. I'm like, get out. But, it's just, I think the more, and I shelter her with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But just making sure she understands that you can speak up, but in a polite way. You can question and raise your voice in a polite way. I mean, not raise voice, but question, if you see something is wrong, say something,
right.
Don't feel like you have to suppress.
Right.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. And I think a lot of parents, how we are Europeans, right? We're open, right? And I always say that example of how free we are in Europe, right? When we show a breast or breastfeeding.
I was talking about that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. In Europe, we flip out a poop and, breastfeed, right? Here it's like, OMG, I just saw a nipple. I'm like, you go to Germany, you see a commercial for a body wash. I said douche, a body wash, and it's normal, right? And here it's like, oh my God. And back home, we're like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's kind of like,
even like I was telling Jay about the beaches. You can go like FKK Strand.
Yeah. And here it's kind of like, oh my God.
It's like, nobody's staring? No, not really. Because people used to it.
Yeah. I mean, when we went a couple of years ago, me and my daughter, I went to this Heil sauna, what I call
like
it here. A healing bath. And one portion was FKK. I didn't realize. So we all walked in there and the guy was like, you got to take off your bathing suits. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, but it's like mentality. I totally forgot that because I been living in America for so long, and the other side was bathing suit because it was everybody. The other side, you had to take it off. And, all it was adult only, not kids. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that, bathing suit off. And you couldn't even get in there if you had a bathing suit on. I mean, literally, they all walked around like the police, they were like, take it off, not put it on. Here in America, like put it on. Germany, take it off. I mean, it's just a different mentality that I always say it sometimes it might not be the best thing to suppress it because you see what's happening in certain places, where so much going on and we constantly have to shelter our children, where I think I'm very open with my daughter about everything, but I want to make sure she's aware. I know we're going kind of like on a different...
no, this is actually good. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just, I think I probably like you, very open discussions, what I constantly have with my daughter.
It's important.
I know, but, a lot of people, it's like, don't see, don't hear, kind of thing. And I think we need to start open our eyes and our ears and that the kids understand,
It's like, I would rather them learn stuff from me than see it on social media or on the internet or hear it from their friends. Yeah. Like, I want them to be like, intelligent and understand certain things and not learn wrong information from somebody else that was possibly sheltered in that way, so from little on, like, I don't know, I just like wanted to make sure I covered all bases. And because I was like alone for a long time and it was just me and the girls for a long time, I just wanted them, I wanted them to be alert of things just in case I wasn't there, because they there were so many times where I had to leave him with other people.
Yeah.
Or, leave him in daycares and everything because I was the breadwinner. I was the only one working.
Yeah.
And I needed them to be aware of their surroundings. Yeah. And, like if God forbid somebody touched them inappropriately. Yeah. They needed to know all these things so that they would tell me if something like that would have happened, would to happen. Because, I honestly didn't realize how much of a problem that was as I once I became an adult and I became a mom and I started talking to people. And then it was so unfortunate to hear that every other person that I know almost has been abused. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God.
But it's because nobody talks about it. Yeah. But this is the issue.
Yeah.
Especially when the kids get in puberty and they're like, oh my God, something is growing, or what is this? What is that? And there's actually some great books out there that me and Shay, she's biracial. They have so many books about little girls, African American on there. And it tells everything about, oh my God, my pubic hair just grew, or my nipple, or this and that. I mean, literally gives them every step of the way. And they have books that looks just like them. Yeah. So I think, and I did that with her. We had discussions before that, and then I saw the book, and I was like, let me order it on Amazon. So we went through the book, and as she grew and developed more, we kind of read through it, and she read it, that's a reading time. So, we read through the book, and then she was like, oh, so this is what's happened next, or this what's happened. So we did a little package, just in case if she gets a period or whatever, she's prepared in school. Yeah. But then, kids literally flipping out in 4th or 5th grade because all of a sudden they're cramping, they're getting a period, they're running to school, and they were like, oh my God, what happened? And then the nurse called me. She was like, oh yeah, she's fine. I think she got her start. She already knew. She was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I already talked about that. I mean, but that's, I think, instead of kid flipping out crying. And I mean, we need to prepare our girls better to understand, what's really going on out there.
Yeah, I agree. When my oldest, when, she got a period, I remember I was like, I had just gotten off work and I was sitting in the living room, and I was like holding my son. He was like a baby at the time. And she was like, oh yeah, Mom, by the way, I just, I got my period. And I was like, what? How long have you had it? She was like, oh, like 2 or 3 days. And I'm like, why are you saying something now? I'm like, are you good? She was like, yeah.
But you prepared her.
Yeah.
Right. Where other kids are normally, they're freaking out. But see, this is where I think, again, where America is backwards. You put so much emphasis about other stuff where they're leaving the females, population or kids or whichever way you want to put it, they kind of put it behind again. I think, I read one of my Facebook friends is a OBGYN, and, they got the coming out period parties and stuff like that.
What?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have literally coming out. I don't think it's wrong, but I think it's in different ethnicities and stuff. They have those little coming out parties and stuff because apparently people are not really talking about it or making the kids aware. Wow. So they're inviting kids to, so it's a teaching for her.
Gotcha.
But it's like, it's kind of to the point where I'm like, really? I'm like, you can't even have a conversation with your child about, okay, baby, this is what's going to happen when you get, because as we know, them kids getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
They're getting it at 9, 8.
Yeah.
They're having their periods.
Yeah, yeah.
8, 9, 10. Some of them are later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we not having those conversations? I don't know why it's so free flow in Europe versus here it's kind of like, oh my God. I'm like, we got to do better. We really have to do better because we got to have those conversations about sex and about, protection and birth control. I mean, she told me the other day, some girl on TikTok, she's 12 or 13. She just had a baby. Come on now, babies having babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how long has it been going on? For a long time.
Yeah.
You know, come on. I don't want to raise a baby right now. I mean, I'm turning close to 50 in 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to raise a child.
And that's all because of not educating your children.
Yes.
Like, I remember when I went to high school, the entire time I was in school in Germany, there was only one girl that was pregnant, that was had a teenage pregnancy. And that was like one of those, oh, she's having a baby, she's
but
pregnant.
Now they act like it's normal.
But I think that people, like you said, they're more open. They are more understanding. It's like, okay, so you're having these conversations. You have a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get you on birth control so that we can prevent certain things.
Listen, how about wait?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. I mean, you don't need 13, 14, 15,
you do
16.
Not need, no.
No, we don't.
No.
I mean, there is no need for all them younger children because they're children.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I was a young girl too. I mean, let's not talk about that stuff. But I mean, when you look back, we done some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want that stuff, but I never got pregnant, being so young. I mean, I never thought about, let me, now they're doing it on purpose, kids doing,
I think this is a whole nother topic here.
I think we can talk about that a whole another. I mean, this is just something. I'm Mama Bear. I know you, Mama Bear. I mean, this is just a whole nother. I mean, we can talk about probably 20 other topics that has to do with children, because I tell you that this generation now with children, the stuff that, every day, and we talk about minor stuff, but some of them, 4th, 5th graders, the stuff that I hear every day, I just want to go to school and just smack them all over the heads. And I'm like, thank God I'm not a teacher. I mean, heads off to them teachers out there, because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, Jesus, help me. You would have to say a prayer every night for me.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. No, thanks.
No.
Okay, so let's see what else we had. We wanted to talk about. Okay, so you kind of touched on how, moving from Germany to the United States, how that impacted you. So you shared that already. So you've lived in Atlanta for a long time. How would you describe the dating scene?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I'm still single. Well, dating scene in Atlanta, it's very interesting, say the least. I think, it's, this is a perspective of mine.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's very challenging, because I think, I
think a lot of women can agree with you.
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, special, and I can speak on, I'm a single mother, right? Mm-hmm. I got my daughter 24/7, 365, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't make yourself available whenever the gentleman wants you to be available, it's out of the question. It's almost like, hey, you ready for a date? I'm like, can I find a babysitter? Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Next. If you know I'm a single mother, you don't, and I don't care, honestly, what education level, okay? We're talking about from attorneys to doctors to professors to deans, you name it. It's all between every echelon. And then also, I have not found a man that, it seems like wants the same effort, right? I mean, I give 2 steps, he gives 1. I'm like, I give 3 steps, he gives 1. I don't see like he takes 3 steps, I give him 2 steps. I don't know. I have never seen the
the same effort.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm the man. He wants me to pursue him. I'm like, okay, did we just go into a different time zone?
I think it's because of the overpopulation of women here.
Well, you know what? I keep hearing that. But the problem is, yes, it might be 18-1, 15-1, whatever it is here in Atlanta. But out of the 15, I always say that phrase, out of 15, how many can you bring home to mother? Mm-hmm. Maybe 1.
Right.
18 or 17 out of the 18 you can take home. You can have a good night. Mm-hmm. You can have a fling. But she might not be the person that you want to bring home to mother. It might be the one. But guess what? But it seems to be they always cry, I want an independent woman. Here, independent woman. I have my life together. I don't need nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, I'm Miss 100% wonderful. Yeah, I got my flaws. But my number one is my daughter. And that seems to be a problem for people. When I say my daughter comes first, I understand. All right, see you next lifetime. If they don't understand that my daughter comes first, then you're not the person, And dating apps, oh gosh, let's just not, oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, you're talking about from Tinder to whatever, what's it called? Ping pong, I don't know.
POF?
POF, and then what's the other one they said? Bumble, and I don't even know. I haven't tried a Bumble, whatever, but I tried POF a while back. I tried Tinder recently because somebody told me to try it. And that's a funny one.
It's like a hookup site, I think.
That's what people keep telling me. I met some very interesting people on there, but those were the people like, hey, you ready to go somewhere? And I'm like, hey, I'm at the softball game, or, I'm like, okay, all right, have a nice life.
Hey, have you noticed that, on Tinder, I was on Tinder like a couple years ago. Have you noticed how on Tinder, most guys are looking for somebody that likes to travel?
Oh, yeah,
what the woman that they describe they want has to be unemployed and homeless.
Yeah, unemployed, no children.
No children, right. In order to fit their description.
Their description. But then the funny thing is, they want all that, but let's keep it real. You want me to travel the world with you, but you don't even want to pay for a flight. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
I can pay for more flight. I just traveled 3 weeks to Europe with my daughter. We've been to Switzerland, Italy, I can pay for all that. But you request me to go to God knows where, Bangkok, here, there, and all, but you want me to pay for all that. Okay, you'd ask me to go with you, or you want me to do all this. Okay, so I'm a little confused then. You looking for a sugar mama? Or you the sugar daddy? I'm so confused. I mean, again, all jokes aside, but, it's always funny because they were like, I'm looking for a partner to travel, to eat out, to go out to clubs or bars, go to plays. I'm like, okay. I don't care if she has children. Okay, so where's the child go?
Yeah.
To a babysitter? Listen, that's not where I do it. I mean, I have another 8 years. I guess I'll be single for another 8 years. I mean, that's the sacrifice I will have to do if that's what it means. My daughter will come number one. Nobody will come, and Shay will tell you right now, she'll be right here. She will tell you, it's okay, Mama. I mean, and that's what it is. I dedicated the last 10 years to my daughter. I thought I found a Mr. Right, but it didn't pay out. So, so guess what? You got to kiss a lot of frogs. Maybe one day Mr. Right comes along. I don't know. I don't know if there is Mr. Right per se, but Atlanta, it's a tough crowd. I mean, I tell you, the problem too is that, with the dating sites, it's like they live in Buckhead, you live in Powder Springs. Oh, Jesus, you live in Tennessee. I'm like, dude, it's 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff like that. I mean, and I always say, listen, if you want to be with a person, it don't matter if it's 35 minutes or 4 hours.
Yeah.
You're going to make the drive.
You're going to make that effort. Yeah.
You're going to make that effort. I don't see that here in Atlanta. I don't see the effort. What they want is the booty call. I'm sorry. I say it like it is. Mm-hmm. It's the booty call. And as soon as they got the booty call, it's done. You can hold out of it 6, 8, 10 months if you want to. As soon as you give it up, you might as well just keep on going. I mean, because then next down. I hate to be so negative about it, but that's, been the experience. I've been here 28 years in Atlanta.
Yeah.
28 years. And I used to be, spunky and all that stuff. I used to do the club scenes. I used to promote in the club scene. I used to, manage R&B artists. I've been around the scene. I've been around the clubs. I've done it all. I don't do it. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't go to clubs. I don't do all this stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not my kind of scene.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do? I mean, where can you meet guys nowadays? It's either online, in the gym, at work, at church. They're the worst ones. Oh my God. I used to remember you go to the club, then you go to church on Sunday. You see the dudes that used to holler at you at the clubs with the wife on Sunday.
Wow.
Oh my God. It used to be so funny. I'm like, wait a minute.
How would they look at you?
Double standard. I'm like, or I remember going it's the same thing with the gyms nowadays. Hate to say it, LA Fitness is the worst. They holler at you at LA Fitness and then come to find out through friends. They were like, yeah, gave me a number. And they come to find out. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't he a friend of mine? So on Facebook, they just got married 2 weeks ago. I don't get it. I mean, so it's, I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I'm not saying it's all in the same category.
Right.
You can find Mr. Right. It's a needle in a haystack. You found Mr. Right. It's a needle in a haystack. Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
But not in Atlanta.
Right. You better somewhere else. But I mean, it's, and I don't care. I mean, I don't have to meet him in Atlanta. I mean, anybody outside Atlanta, I'm fine too. So, I'm okay with long distance too, but trying to find that match, because I think it's so important, to find that right fit.
Right.
Because, life is not promised, as we all know, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with all this craziness of COVID. And, I'm in the medical field, right? I hear all this stuff. I'm in hospitals all day long, with, patients and, they're shutting down left and right all the hospitals because they overloaded with COVID patients on ventilators and everything else. Mm-hmm. We don't know if we promise tomorrow.
Right.
And I know a lot of my friends are on ventilators. They're my age. They're in fitness. And guess what? They're on ventilators right now. I mean, we don't know what's happening tomorrow or today. So you got to find your right fit, and just to date. And as you get older, you get more and more pickier.
Right.
Just for me, a fling, one night stand.
It's not worth it anymore.
Oh, honey, that's like 20. And then first of all, I didn't need to see a COVID test.
Yeah.
I did POC test. And I was like, you're negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, life got a little bit more complicated now.
Right. Just a little.
You vaccinated, PRC test.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Jesus.
It's crazy. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that one day you find.
It's okay. I'm good. Honestly, I'm good. I'm looking. If Mr. Right comes by, Mr. Right comes by. And see, this one thing that you got to realize, you got to be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm okay. So that's the difference. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm looking. I would love to have a companion.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that I have a connection with, but I don't have to have it because I've been married before. When you're in a miserable relationship, that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
You know, because I always have a saying, I can do bad by myself. And I promised myself when I was homeless, never again. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, that's what's been my drive, is I promised myself I will never, ever let a man do that to me again. And that's after 96. I have never done that again. Mm-hmm. Even when I was engaged back then in 2006. He moved in with me. I kept my house. I'm like, no, you're moving in my house because I am not being homeless again if something happens.
It's a big fear.
It's a big fear, you know, and there's more stuff, you know, it's like you always have to have some kind of security blanket. You know, it's one thing that I learned through this whole experience, you know, I'm debt free. I don't carry debt anymore. You know, it's like everything is paid for. I don't want to go back again because if something happens tomorrow, I can wash my hands and start all over again anywhere, you know, and you always got to make sure. And this is for any listener that I can give you the best advice is stack your money. I'm telling you, it's so important. You know what I'm talking about. You got to stack your money because if something ever happens, and I'm not saying, you know, that something will happen, but you have to make sure that, you know, you work all your life and then something happen. I've seen it to too many friends of mine. You know, they put everything in their marriage, in their relationship, and they don't know what's going on with the bank accounts. Then they get divorced, they separate, or even, you know, they were not married or whatever. They get separated, and then guess what? They don't know what's going on. Then they get separated, they have all them bills and have no idea. I had several of my friends, they come to me, they were like, Marlene, how can I get out of this? And that's one thing that I'm very good at. It might be another section. We need to talk about that. How to get back out of debt. You know, how to repair your credit and all this kind of stuff, because that's what I had to do. I couldn't get a piece of credit, a piece of bread on credit, because I was down to a credit score of 500. I'm back up in the 800s now. You know, the highest you can get is 850, 890, I think, 870, whatever it is. So one of the things that I can tell you is you got to make sure you have reserves. Because you never know, even if you're married, you know, you got to make sure you have reserves, you know, because you never know, especially the times that we're going through right now, you know, we got to make sure we have the reserves because we never know when something can hit us.
Get hit with something, yeah.
I mean,
it could be, you know, not just a relationship breakup.
No, I mean, anything.
But it could be, you know, something health related.
Hospital,
or you get laid off, your job gets eliminated. It could be a lot of different things.
And that's happening with a lot of people with COVID, you know.
Yeah.
They're going to hospitals, you know, they're getting long-term and, you know, people losing their jobs left and right with COVID. I mean, but the problem is too, you know, a lot of people, and again, I keep saying that, you know, a lot of Americans, you know, have $50,000 to $70,000 in credit card bills, you know, and they're paying the minimum of 15. Well, if it's that high, you know, minimum might be, you know, $100 a month. They're going to be paying that thing forever and a day because they're only paying the interest on it. Yeah. And the interest is actually higher than that's probably about $400 on it. So you're never going to get your debt down. So what are you going to do then? I mean, all you're doing is paying the interest to the credit card companies. So you can never get out of debt. People need to learn to live off minimum. I don't care if you ain't got a Gucci bag, a Louis bag, or whatever. Listen, I could walk out today and get me a Gucci bag, Louis. I don't do it.
Yeah.
I got one Louis bag only because I went to Paris. I splurged one bag, and It took everything out of me to write that check. I was shaking. But I said, I worked my butt off all my life. I said, I want one Louis bag. One. And I bought one. But I have to say, when you buy it over there, you get it much cheaper than over here. So I bought it over there. But I tell you, I never bought it again. You know, I don't buy high-end brands, but I tell you, people tell me, oh, you need to get rims on your car. You need to get a newer car. I'm like, my car been paid off for many years. Why do I need another car? Tell me again. Yeah. Makes no sense. But you want to keep up with the Joneses. Why? If you debt-free, man, let me tell you. I teach that Shay all the time. I showed it the other day, my bank account. Do you understand what this is? No, I broke it all down to her. I said, do you know where your mama is going with this? Do you understand what this means? So I had to break it all down to her to understand, because she made a comment to me about one kid. She was like, yeah, my mom, this, that, and the other. I forgot what she said. Her friend's mom is a multimillionaire. And I said, okay, is she really a millionaire? Is that cash money in the bank? That's a millionaire. Yeah. Cash money in the bank. Or does she have assets?
I was about to say that.
Asset, and she owes the bank. Now, I was on paper. I owned about 16 homes in a commercial building right before the market crashed. So, you know, I talk about that in my book, actually, when I went from homeless, got back on my feet 5 years later, and I had 16 homes, commercial building. I was on top of the game. But yeah, I was about 6 million in it, you know, but it was liquid. You know, to me, debt-free means you get that money in the bank. Yeah. Right? So I always make sure people understand. I'll say, Shay, this is what it means when you're independent. Money, cash in the bank. Okay. Again, you got to teach your kids right. You know, don't say, oh, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, you might have a $1.5 million house, but guess what? You owe $1.5 million to the bank. That means you have debt 1.5. Yeah. You know, I have a $500,000 house, but I only owe the bank 100,000 hypothetically, right? So you got 500,000 in equity. That's 500,000 I can pull out tomorrow. But see, people don't, you know. Right. So the understanding about freedom, again, is another segment. But it's just, you know, we got to teach our kids the right way to understand.
About finances, absolutely. So that they can be responsible.
Right. And understand what it really means and take value. Because I know Chef's like, oh, we can do this. I'm like, no, just because mommy has it doesn't mean we can do it. You know, we splurge. But that doesn't mean we do it every day. Right. Because mommy has a goal. Yeah. The goal is by the time I retire, I want to have 7 million in the bank so I don't have to work again for the rest of my life. I want to be somewhere at the beach sucking on some pina coladas. And when it's my time, I can leave all the rest of the money.
That's a great plan, Marlene. That's a great plan. And I think that, again, there's a lot of stuff that is not being taught to the children.
Oh, let me tell you.
Like I added my oldest daughter to my credit card so that, you know, the activity can be reported. It's tied to her social also. So she's like a authorized user.
16?
Yeah. But, you know, so that's helping her, you know, build credit already.
Yeah, and that's with 16. Yeah. I mean, all those things I'm telling you, we need to teach our children, but you have to teach it right from the beginning. I'm telling you, I keep talking about that to Shay. She's so sweet. The other day, you know, she had a birthday. She got all the birthday money. She spent it on a little scooter. And then she's so funny. So she booked my birthday dinner. I didn't know. But of course, she put my email address in. I saw the invite. She made a reservation. She asked me, oh, what's your favorite restaurant? I said, you know, it's Atlanta Fish Market. She went online. Keep in mind, she's 10. She went online, made a reservation for 2 at Atlanta Fish Market for November 5th.
This year?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So she put $200 from her birthday money to the side.
So she could take you.
So she can take me.
Wow.
I was just like, I gotta love this baby. I swear to you. I'm like, but teaching, but I don't want her to spend the money because I said to her, I want to open up like a little checking account for her, savings account to put the money. And she said, no, mommy, I want to take you out for your birthday. And she goes always in, she counts her money. And she's like, yeah, I got like $200 some. She said, I'm going to take you to birthday, but that's how we got to teach our children, we don't need our children to be selfish.
Yeah.
I understand, especially at that age, she could have took that 200 and spent it on, the little bubbles and all that stuff that you do. But she wants to spend it on me. But she always been like that. She wants to spend it on me. I let her maybe spend $50 on me or whatever. Yeah. But, I pick up the tab. But I keep telling us, like, we need to open up. Actually, I'm going to open up a stock market. And probably, you also have to think about that. What do they like to play right now? It's Roblox or whatever. Have them buy some Roblox stock markets. It might go up so high or whatever, but, just let them watch it to kind of understand it. Yeah. Because I made a lot of money in stock markets over the years, and it's just been growing. And I put in the max amount every month, and it's just been growing without me doing anything. It's just some of the things that I'm teaching her now that I'm like, I want to make sure you understand. But it's just something that we got to teach as parents. Nobody taught me, and I constantly want to make sure she understands. And it's just some of the things that I got to get better because I went to school actually for trading. And I used to have like 5-6 monitors in my house to do trading, but then years ago, and then I kind of went away from it. I need to refresh my memory because I'm telling you, so much opportunities out there and so much new stuff that I'm not even aware of what's going on. But I think right now we have so many opportunities, real estate and everything else. I've been doing real estate for so many years. I mean, this is, I think the first real estate transaction I did was back in 2001, way before 1993, actually. That was my first house I bought with my ex-husband. And then my true first house that I bought was in 2001. And then I went into investment, I think 2006. That's when I started buying and flipping. And then I got into short sales. That's where the money was. A lot of short sales, a lot of flipping back then. It's a little bit different rules and regulations now. But back then, it was much different. Yeah. And so I ended up with 16 plus homes. I built a couple of homes at small communities down in Stone Mountain and a commercial building. Back then, it was a lot of hustle, back and forth. And then, market crashed. Yeah. I kind of crashed with it. I lost everything I had. I lost everything that I had, and I kind of got away from it, and then I got pregnant. I couldn't take the risk anymore. Yeah. But I always kept, I have a lot of friends that investors. So I always, was still involved in it, but I'm back doing real estate now. So, it's just trying to build again my brand, my business with real estate again, slowly but surely. Trying to, still working, but still, it's a long-term goal. Right, right. It's a long-term goal that I want to continue building over the next couple of years. So it's not something that I'm rushing into, because when you rush into things, it never comes in provision. So I have a Georgia license now, and I'm working on my Florida license. because I think both of the markets are very important. You know, a lot of Georgia and a lot of other people going down to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
New Yorkers, Californians. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people going to those areas now. So just building, again, you know, the brand, the area.
How can people find you if they want to, you know, look you up for information?
So I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram and I just went blank. Instagram and my brain just went dead.
Twitter.
There you go. Jesus.
What's your username?
It's Realtor Marlene L. So Realtor Marlene and then L. All of them the same.
So if somebody reach out to you, if somebody reaches out to you, can you offer financial advice too? Are you more so real estate?
It's mainly real estate, but I work with a lot of the brokers on the financial side. Like if they're looking for loans, I work with specific lenders that can help them to kind of get them into the right direction. So if they were quite sure, you know, if they would qualify for loans, we try to stay away from giving them advice.
Yeah.
Now, I can kind of figure out, of course, on if they would qualify, you know, down payment and such as, yes, I do have all the formulas that I can kind of understand. But, you know, technically, you know, you want to stay in your lane, right? Because I'm not a lender.
Right, right.
A lot of people, they'll be like, no. Listen, I'm a realtor, you know, I'm an investor. I understand the numbers, but I will send you over to somebody who does this on a daily basis. They can input that stuff in the computer, and they can crunch the numbers to make sure, you know, you always got to make sure too, it's a lot about your credit scores, right? And your down payment. You know, a lot of people say, hey, I'm looking for, this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're looking for the best school districts, but want to look at a price range that is unrealistic.
Yeah.
Right. I had a, client the other day that called me. They were like, I'm looking for this school district. It was the top school district, but she had only 300,000. There was no house in that whole area for 300,000. I mean, the minimum was 500 in that area. And she didn't believe me. I mean, you can go on Zillow and look at it. I mean, it's, you can put down, zip code and kind of look at, you can kind of look, the internet has given us so much now. I mean, you can literally look on Google it, mortgage calculator, right? And you can kind of get an estimate. Right. The only thing that you cannot look at is your credit score. Right. I mean, you can probably get your own credit score, but normally if you have a 650, 670 and up, the better your credit score is, the better interest rate. If you have a 720 and above, that's when you're going to get the best interest rate.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, normally I leave the experts, stay in your lane. I always say that. When people give you, all those, I know it. Listen, stay in your lane. Okay. Give the advice that you are trained for.
Right, right.
I am not a lender. I can give an estimate, but I do the same thing. I go online and I have different access to different systems that the public don't have. I can go on those systems. I can punch in the numbers with the same information that you gave me, but a lender can calculate it specifically.
Right.
When they run your, social security number.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I did have other questions for you, but we kind of completely got off subject.
I know we did.
But a great subject, actually. I think we discussed some really good things. So just really quickly, if you can share, as a single parent and, I know that, your daughter you've really fostering your daughter's interests and her talents. So how do you manage your work-life balance? Is there one?
Oh, work-life. Well, I think it comes back to the discussion we talked about work-life balance, dating, and such as. I've been blessed enough to be in an industry. I've been in medical for the past 16 years where work-life balance has worked for, mothers, right? Where I'm able to have a flexible schedule. Where I'm able to foster Shay. And again, my priority is always Shay, but I put a lot of money and resource in my daughter's life. You have to stay committed. I call it like the sucker moms, right? I mean, you commit to your child whatever they want to do to see what grows, right? Shay's passion is singing. She has developed a phenomenal voice over the years. A lot of money, a lot of training, but she also dances. She does softball. She does karate. She does all kinds of different stuff. COVID has slowed us down with a lot of stuff. So, but I just... literally, my phone is, my schedule is full. It's not a lot of work-life balance, to be honest. It's work, Shay, her activity. I have, over the last couple of years, kind of neglect myself, physically, should I say, for my daughter. I was in the fitness industry for many years. I trained for competitions and I was about this big, But then I got sick. I gained a lot of weight. I used to train 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, AM, PM. And, I haven't done that in many years because, stress, work-life balance, and then, not finding the time. But I recommitted myself to go back to it. Over the last 3 weeks, I have started training again, 4 or 5 days a week. Haven't done that in a long time, but I'm also off medication. I think a lot of times it's, stress and a lot of obstacles come in your life. I think that's another subject about, what happened a couple of years back that brought me into taking medications for depression, for, started giving me a lot of migraine headaches, headaches. I was taking a lot of medication for that stuff. And then my whole left side started getting nerve problems. So I had to take medication for that. I gained like close to 30 pounds. Now I'm suffering from, oh my God, I gained so much weight. And, trying to train through that now is like, oh my God, I feel like I don't have that energy anymore. But I trained the other day 2 hours. I was like, oh, wow, it feels good, trying to get back to it. So I'm trying to put a me time again. For the last 3 weeks, I started that again. I felt like I've been neglecting myself because I've been, focusing myself to her. And I'm, 100%. But I think the problem is if we neglecting ourselves as parents, we can't help our children.
No, you can't be present in that moment. Yeah.
And I think that's where I think the problem is, I moved further out from the city. And I think that's when everything kind of crashed down. I made a decision as a parent to go into a better school system, to be in I call it in the country, right? This is country to me, right? With the birds and the bees and the deers. Okay. People are like, it's not, but to me, it's very much, right? I feel like I'm out in the country. It's just like a culture shock to me, almost like, but it's not far. I mean, I moved 35 minutes away, but it's a day and night culture shock to me. And something changed. The motivation went away, right? Because as soon as I got home, I didn't want to leave the house anymore. right? To drive 25 minutes to the gym was inconvenience to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't want to leave the house again because it's back and forth an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? So you kind of got demotivated, and then, a lot of things, and so now I got to figure out again, okay, how do I get that motivation back? But I have to do it for me because if I'm not right in my head, my body, my mind, I cannot help her to be successful either, right? Because she wants to constantly be on softball. So what I started doing is, I train first thing in the morning, before I go to work. And then when she's softball 3-4 days a week, I do the track. So I get my 2 workouts in, 4 days a week. So, I've been burning 1,000 calories a day. So, but I seen all of a sudden, again, I took all the medication off. I seen finally a weight loss that I haven't seen in a long time. So it motivates me.
Of course,
So you want to make some changes. Again, it's eating habit. I have a sports nutrition license. I'm a certified trainer. I know what I need to do. But again, when you're on medication, and I've been in medical sales for a very long time, when you're on medication, you have no control what your body does because everybody responds different to medication. Some lose weight, some gain weight. There are so many different side effects on those medication. Some have no side effects, but I'm the one, I have side effects on everything, but I didn't figure it out until a year and a half later that the medication made me sick. I couldn't figure out what it was until I dig further into studies. And then I was like, yeah, this, that, and the other. I was like, really? So, you really have to look at your research too. And then you go back to the doc and he was like, well, never heard of it, but yeah, it could be. And I'm like, it is. Here's a subset study, He was like, yeah, it could be. So give me another solution, and a lot of times, and I hate to say it, you got to demand another solution because he was like, yeah, but you were controlled. Yes, I was controlled, but I'm 30 pounds heavier. That's not a solution for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're controlled. Yes, I get it. It's different. I think if you have it depends on what disease it is. Let me track back, right? Depending on what disease you are, right? I mean, it's a migraine headache. Some people can deal with it. They don't care. For me, I just push through it. It's, we're Germans, I guess. We push through it. But it wasn't a reason for me to gain so much weight that I'm like, okay, I'm stopping.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm stopping the medication. I push through. If I get a migraine, give me something else. So you got to find something else to get back to your happy place. So 3-4 weeks ago when I stopped abrupt, don't do that. Talk to your healthcare provider first. Okay. I've been doing this for a very long time. But talk to your health provider first before you stop any medication. But I did it because I know my body. Okay. So I stopped it abruptly. And then you have to wait until it gets out of your system. And some depends on what their half-life is. This one is 30 days, almost 27, 30 days. Mine probably takes a little bit longer, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And then you can probably flush it all out of your system. And then you will see a change probably another month later. So now I'm at that point, I will start seeing changes again. So now you got to help. And then you got to implement. So now you got to find your happy place.
Right.
But if I cannot find my happy place, I cannot make it better for Shay. And I think that's one thing that I just got to the point again, because I feel like I was going into a depression. And we don't talk about that. That's a whole nother section again. Depression, us females, we were like, no, we're fine. No, we're not fine. We fall into depressions. And I feel I'm coming through, I'm going there again. But I said, I need to push through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we don't want to talk about it because we're like, it's hush hush. No, we need to talk about it. But I'm the kind of person, I don't want to take the medication. It's an SSRI. I gain weight on that stuff. Some people need to take it. I don't want to take it. So I have to figure out how can I get through it. working out works out for me. You know, it makes me in a happy place, training, working out. You know, sometimes I go to Europe. You know, I find a happy place. Sometimes I went to depression. I went back to Europe. I snapped out of it like this. You know, you got to find your happy place.
Right.
You know, or go to the beach, you know, find your happy place. So find your happy place and then put a plan together so you can help to do all the things that Shay wants. Shay wants to do so many things. She was like, I want to do this, and that. I'm like, child, okay, we got softball season right now. We want to start back on the music, you know, so let's do 1 and 2. And then, you know, keep going. But yeah, she constantly wants to come up with new stuff, you know, and she is as busy as me. She cannot sit down. I mean, if I say to her, let's be at home, Mama, where we going? Where we going? Can we go somewhere? Can we go somewhere? Can we go? Can we? I'm like, child, can you sit at home, please? Read a book. No. Okay, let's go. All day long. I mean, so, you know, we got to be fit for them.
Yeah,
especially mine. She's just 24/7. Like, woo, woo, woo.
I'm glad my girls are kind of like, I mean, not homebodies, but maybe, yeah. The pandemic or COVID turned them into homebodies, yeah. But they do slow down at some point. Once they become teenagers,
oh my
I
God,
think, you know,
she's like a roller coaster 24/7. She can sit still. It's like, I'm like, she's like, can I have a brother, sister? No. I'm going to send you over to Benisas' house. Play with the babies.
Too funny. All right. Well, I have one more question for you. One final question.
All right.
Tell me who inspires you and why.
I would say my grandmother. You know, she raised all of us. You know, I have 6 brothers and sisters. She was probably the most hard-working woman I have ever met my entire life. And this woman never complained one time. Never, ever, ever. I know there are so many people out there that inspire us, right?
Yeah.
You know, celebrities or motivators. But something about my grandmother, because she raised me, you know, she, you know, we didn't talk about that, but my mother gave me away when I was younger. My grandmother took me in when I was 9. But she raised us, all of us, technically. So, I mean, I always was with her. But, you know, she cleaned public toilets and delivered newspapers. You know, she could bake any cake you can imagine. You know, she was raised in Schleswig-Holstein. You know, the bomb went right off behind her, you know, and they walked out she was raised also by nuns, you know, she had like 19 siblings, you know, so she had a hard life too. But this woman never one time complained about nothing. You know, when we had no money, she put potato soup on the stove. She did not complain one time. You know, I think the drive and ambition, because I always wonder where I got I don't know my father, you know, I know my mother, but I always was like, where I got this drive and this ambition? I think it's my grandmother, you know, because she just never gave up. I don't care the darkest place, you know, she just kept on going, you know, to the end. I know when she passed away, I got the call and I flew in, and let me tell you, she held on until I got to her dying bed, until she took her last breath. And they were like, they ain't never seen. I mean, she literally waited until I flew from the States to her bed. Because they called me, they were like, she's not going to make it. She was holding on until the last second until I got there. I mean, she was a fighter, you know, to the end. And, you know, I believe, you know, that everything that I got and learned, I mean, you know, I don't think I could have made it without her, because she taught me that, you know, you got to fight for what you want, you know, and just nothing is given in life. Let's keep it real.
Right.
Unless you were, raised by a silver spoon. None of us have, most of us haven't, the ones that really have bought from ground up, we the ones that bloom, and show the drive and the ambition. And that's how she was. I mean, and when she saw a homeless person, she brings them to the house or brings scissors or whatever. She cuts their hair in downtown Bad Neustadt and just, give them a shower, feeds them. And they did wrong by, they stole stuff from her. But guess what? She did it to the next person. She was just always that kind person. She baked cakes for everybody, and then they did wrong to her. Guess what? She just did it to the next person. But she never be like, I never gonna. She just kept doing it to the next person. And that's how I feel like. I can honestly say I have never done wrong to people on purpose, right? Because because doing ugly to people is not going to get you where you need to be. I believe that's what why I'm still here today. Why I have driven up versus crashing is just like my grandmother. She always has helped people when they were in need. I will give my last shirt to people if they need to. Yeah. And open my doors if somebody needs it. That's how my grandmother was. Unless you do me wrong, well, I'm a Scorpio, then you will see the other side. My grandmother always was like, but she was my motivation. She was my everything. Even now. I mean, I remember when she passed away, Grandma Shay, we were driving. She said, Grandma's right there. She used to see her all the time. And she continued watches over us. Yep.
That's great. I definitely like that. And, I'm learning so much new about you too. That's, I love, our conversation, because I didn't know half of what you told me today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a lot more, I don't talk about a lot of that stuff because I'm an open book. I told you that. I mean, I literally wrote a book about everything that I talked to you about. It's in a book. Yeah. Eventually one day I will publish it whenever that happens. You should definitely
do that. Yeah.
But it's, I mean, I could talk about all kinds of stuff, because it's a passion of mine, to talk about different stuff. And I'm very vocal about everything. And just a life experience because, all the stuff coming to the States and the things that I've been through and the trials and tribulation and, where a lot of people, even in my own company, I've been very successful, being top producer year after year after year after year, where some people were with silver spoons and they were like, what drives you? I walked on in medical sales, when you're top producers, you walk the stage and I was number one in the whole country. And they asked me and I told them the story about being homeless and my CEO. And they were like, wow, I want to hear the story because most of the people in my company, I'm probably one of the only one as a single parent. Secondly, most people, their parents, helped them to get to college and got a college degree. I worked my behind off to get a degree here in the States and, worked my way through back home without anybody's help. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. Now I know everybody has a story. I get it. But being a foreigner, oh yeah, coming to the States, it's a little bit different. I think we have a different story to tell. Right. So a lot of people always take that for granted, because they're like, oh, you're just one of them or whatever, and I'm like, no, there's a little bit more to it. It's not just one of them. I worked my behind off for what I have today. And I want to add to that actually, because what I've always heard when, when people are like, oh, where are you from? And then I say, I'm from Bosnia, but I was born and raised in Germany. And they were like, oh, you must have married military. And then, and
I always feel like I have to almost explain.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't move here and just was given everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't like an easy transition.
Yeah, but that's what
I worked harder than a lot of people.
But people don't even understand. But they don't even understand the process about green card immigration. That's a whole nother subject. And because even me, I was a green card holder for over 20 years because I didn't feel the need to become American. I was okay with a green card. That changed a couple of years ago when I was rushing to become American. So I have dual citizenship. But, people were like, you legal here? I'm like, what? Even my doctors.
Really?
Oh, honey, that's a whole nother discussion. And I'm like, I had to give them an immigration education. And then after I sat down with this one doctor, I gave him an immigration education. And he was like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, but people are so uneducated to understand what the process is to become an American citizen. They just think you sign something off and say, I want to be American. No, it's not that easy, especially if you want to become dual citizen. If you want to keep,
even harder.
Yeah, you got to get your Beibehaltung. You got to write a 6-page essay to make sure.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't want to give up my German citizenship. I want to stay EU citizen.
Yeah,
they have no idea. Again, it's I'm happy I kept it because otherwise I couldn't went back to Germany this year. Shay and I both have double citizenship. Mm-hmm. If I would have gave it up, we could have not visited our family. I know.
I'm not a U.S. citizen.
Again, don't need to.
Yeah.
But eventually, you may need to. Mm-hmm. Because of trying to go back home and this and that, or coming back in. I mean, again, things change every day depending on who is in power.
Right.
Again, don't want to talk political right now, but, things change every day and it's going wild, wild west out there, So, it's a whole different conversation. And, I have those conversations all the time. And I feel like I have to have a discussion with well-educated people all the time about immigration law, where I'm like, really, we have to go there? I mean, where are we? I mean, but that's reality nowadays, that we have to have a conversation, be like, are you legal here, illegal here? I'm like, what? I mean, I've been here almost 30 years. Yeah, I'm legal here, but again, that's
the audacity to even ask that. That's kind of, yeah.
Whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
We don't want to go there.
Okay. So we're going to wrap up today's discussion. What do you want to leave the viewers with?
Well, we talked about listeners. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the only takeaway I would say is, have a plan. It depends on where you are in your life today. Have a plan, know where your directions are. I always try to figure out where my goals are, where I'm trying to go. Have a 5-year plan. I'm trying to figure out already where I'm going the next 5 years. And what's my next move? I always try to figure out where's my next move and where I'm going. If you have any real estate needs, just contact me under Realtor Marlene L. I do mainly Atlanta and soon to be Florida. And, I appreciate my host today,
of course,
Miss Benisa, for this wonderful broadcast. Actually, with some great discussions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I think we need to have a second discussion about, everything else.
Yeah.
I think, there's a lot more to talk about. I think we have a lot more discussions on the table, just as a, mother and just everything that's going on with, our kids and
definitely.
Everything else. So I appreciate getting an invite and
Absolutely.
love to come back and talk a little bit further.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in, listening, or viewing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And make sure to follow my Instagram handle, Benisas Cafe, as well. Thank you.